good morning and welcome to another edition of Situation Report on Silverbird Reading 94.7. And of course, the last edition for the week. I am Victor Irele welcoming you to today's edition of the program. For those of you who have been keeping tab with us within the week, I did tell you that we'll be having one of the members of the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who will be coming in to share thoughts, developments on where we are today. So he is live in the studio, and we'll be dwelling all that has happened the last couple of days, from issues around being declared by the court of appeal that government should release him, government also saying our right of appeal going ahead. So all of that, we'll be hearing it. Of course, Simon Ekpa's angle to it, and then all the allegations, all of these things, he will try as much as he can to highlight all that he knows. So it promises to be an explosive one today, and I hope you will have opportunity of being part of the show. But before I introduce him and we go full blast into the program, just to give you tidbits here and there that the president, it looks as if we thought that maybe with Buhari ended the borrowing spree, but it looks as if we are now on a free fall. And of course, those of us who thought that maybe the Ninth Assembly was just rubber stamping everything, maybe we need to also think twice again whether this one is not going to be more cheaper than the last assembly, because under less than 24 hours, 500 billion requested, approved. 500 million requested, approved. $800 million requested, approved. Under 24 hours. And you ask yourself, all of them, what is it for? All of them are just palliatives and to settle the poor and vulnerable, to meet their basic need. You borrow $800 million. What are you going to do with it? You share to 12 million people, 8,000 naira for 6 months. And that translates to 48,000 naira for 6 months. After that 6 months, what happens? And then, of course, we also learned that the new members at the National Assembly, the 500 billion, they will get 70 billion out of it. That's the stories. Allegedly that they will get, I'm sure my good friend Adewumi will say Mr. Victor has come, allegedly. Allegedly, they are going to get 70 billion from that 500 billion. Could it be the reason why they didn't bother to just give it a thought? So all these things. And don't forget, President Buhari, twilight of his going out, also asked for $800 million from the World Bank. Was that one taken, or was it suspended? Is this one a continuation of that one? This country, we know how to waste money. And then everything, palliatives, poor, everyone. At the end of the day, don't be surprised when you hear that in 1 week, we have maybe given the poor 10 billion naira. Don't be surprised. We saw it the last time out. Let's see how all of these things will pan out, but Labour is kicking against that. They say 300% increase is what they want. The discos are also not smiling. They are also written to the government to say we want to review. You know, you've removed the differentials in exchange rates, and you've also removed subsidies. So dollar has gone up, everything. So we too want to continue our own to remain in business. But you and I, there is nothing in terms of remaining alive, because that's the only thing for us. But what do? Life goes on. Because of so much that we have today, I will pause here. I hope, God willing, by Monday, there would have been further development, and then I can take you on some of these issues. I will start this morning by giving you a teaser, and that teaser will be on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's earlier position on the issue of agitation and Biafra. And then, of course, today, that is incarceration, his position, what it is. So I'll just take a little bit of teaser for you to also understand where we are in all of this.
I have said it before, and I will repeat what I said. If we engage in killing, Biafra will not come. That is one cardinal thing you don't do in Biafran. Go and ask anybody. Anytime you shed an Igbo blood, you kill a fellow Biafran, anything you're looking for will not come. Go and ask all of them. Starting from the death of Bono Jike. People don't know how Bono Jike died.
Right, that was his earlier position, and then now this is what he says.
Fighting to defend our people, not to kill them. We are fighting to defend them. That's why I'm here. I will continue to do so until we get free. No, not at all. It's what we expect. But I want our people to be very calm. I want Biafra land to be calm, peaceful. Calm and very, very peaceful. We are fighting to defend our people, not to kill them. We are fighting to defend them. That's why I'm here. I will continue to do so until we get free.
All right, that was the voice of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. His present position, we are fighting not to defend our people, not to kill our people. So for anyone who has been masquerading as either the deputy or the altar leader or whatever, siding or in any way benefiting from the killings in the southeast may not be sharing his thoughts. All right, so I have in the studio Ifeanyi Ejiofor, who is a member of the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Anyi, good to have you in the studios.
Good morning, Mr. Vic. Good morning, listeners. It's a pleasure being with you once again, Mr. Savik.
All right. So much has happened, but we are able to still try the best you can. So, let's start on a general note. What is the state of things as concerns Nnamdi Kanu before we begin to break into specifics?
Let's get into the other areas of discussion. First of all, it's no longer it's a matter of common knowledge that on October 13th, 2022, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was discharged by the Court of Appeal in a landmark judgment delivered by the third panel of the Court of Appeal, unanimous judgment. And not only that he was discharged, the court prohibits further detention and his further trial before any court in Nigeria on any indictment or allegation or offense. This order was duly served on the federal government and also served on the DSS. It has not been obeyed. Rather, we are confronted with a situation whereby the federal high court, the federal government appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which is permissible under our law, then proceeded to apply for the stay of execution of that order and judgment of the Court of Appeal. And it's important for me to stress and emphasize this. In the history of Nigerian criminal jurisprudence, it has never happened before in the history of Nigerian criminal jurisprudence for a citizen to be discharged by a Court of Appeal, even a high court. Let's start with the high court. Once a citizen is discharged of an offense, an order, possibly for acquittal, like in the instance of in the present case, the order forbidding his further detention and trial is more powerful than even order of acquittal in this case. The person will walk out from the court a free person once that pronouncement is made by the court at the point of judgment is delivered. But in this case, the federal government apply and obtain an order to stay the execution of the judgment of the appeal. And it will interest the world to know that as strange and unprecedented that order will be, it is the first time, even in the Court of Appeal rules, there's no provision under criminal direction allowing an order an application of suction to be granted entertained by Court of Appeal, an application for stay of execution of judgment of inquiry matters. It has never happened, and that's why they find it very difficult, and they have no laws, authorities, or even statutes to rely upon in obtaining that order. Because an order of stay is only permissible, grantable in civil matters, not in criminal matters, or in situations where someone has been convicted of and sentenced to death. But once an order of discharge and acquittal, like in this case, but what was granted in Nnamdi Kanu's case is more than order of acquittal. The citizen will walk out of the court a free person. If he's in detention, the person will be released immediately. And also be reminded that Court of Appeal also made an order for him to be released unconditionally. So the order today, staying the execution of judgment of Court of Appeal, was not founded on law, was not founded on statute law or any legal jurisprudence. It's an application predicated on civil authorities, civil decisions of the Supreme Court, not criminal decisions. We cannot fight them. It has never happened before in the history of criminal jurisprudence in this country. It has never happened before. This is the first time we are seeing where a citizen is granted, is discharged by the order of court, prohibited from being detained or tried in any court on any allegations on indictment. Then an order, staying the execution of that order is made. It has never happened before. We cannot fight them. With great respect to the Justice of the Court of Appeal that granted that order, we went to Supreme Court. We filed an application, we filed an appeal against that order. So apparently, we have 2 appeals coming up for determination on 14th, hearing on 14th of September 2023. Appeal against the judgment of Court of Appeal, and also appeal we file against the order staying the execution of Court of Appeal, because that decision cannot stand in the face of law. However, when it's not founded in law, founded in legal jurisprudence, is an order founded on civil jurisprudence, civil decisions of the Supreme Court. So that's why we are today. Apart from this, we also have other matters pending in High Court, in Federal High Court, like one is coming up next week for judgment. An application we filed last year by our lead counsel, Professor Michael Zekomese, also, which seeking for an order of mandamus to compel the SSS to allow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu access to his medical doctors, and also avail us of medical records and other far-reaching orders to media. So the application has been entertained on the merit, and it's coming up for hearing for judgment on 20th. That's next week, Thursday. So, what at best I can tell you that Nnamdi Kanu is being today unconditionally detained in custody of SSS in a solitary confinement, because there's no, as far as I'm concerned, that order which discharged him and consequently prohibited for his further detention and trial before any court has not been set aside by Supreme Court. The order is still effective until when it's set aside. So his further detention today in the custody of the SSS in solitary confinement is unconstitutional, illegal, and oppressive. So, and of course, the system, we operate a system that have no respect for rule of law. It's our thinking that the new government in power should have done the needful by giving directive that this judgment must be obeyed immediately without wasting time. So, but we are hopeful, and also we believe that court will do justice to the case. Thank you.
All right. There are also the argument that Nnamdi Kanu also has some other cases at the Federal High Court. Can you probably shed light on that beyond the one you people filed that government is claiming?
We have 2 other cases subsisting today before the Federal High Court. One is one on order of mandamus, which is coming up next week for judgment. The second one is an order, and written summary application. We are inviting the Federal High Court to interpret relevant sections of the domestic and international laws, which the federal government violated in the course of his abduction, criminal abduction in Kenya, and the external rendition to Nigeria. And incidentally, the application was filed before the judgment of Court of Appeal was delivered on October 13th. So the 4 fundamental issues questions were raising for determination by the Federal High Court had been taken care of by the Donor Court of Appeal in principle. So we are just there for the court to grant our reliefs. Because our reliefs, when the application, when you set out questions for court to determine, then once that is determined in the positive, the court will proceed to grant your reliefs. So in this case, the questions we are asking the court to determine as regards to the relevant laws we are pointing out they violated in the course of his abduction in Kenya and there's no relation to Nigeria has been effectively determined by the Donor Court of Appeal delivered on October 13, 2022. So what we are there now for is for the court to proceed, because that judgment is binding on the Federal High Court. It's for court to proceed to grant the relief sought for, and it's coming up on October 25th for hearing. So,
all right, there are those who have argued, I don't know rightly or wrongly, that probably the release of Nnamdi Kanu may bring peace to the southeast. What's your take on that?
Sure. Because it's so the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu marks of grave injustice to the people of Southeast. As you are fully aware, Nnamdi Kanu has never committed any offense known to law. So he's merely advocating his right to self-determination. And that's why you can see that the federal government has been running from pillar to pole before we went to Court of Appeal, seeking for amending charges against him from 1 count, from 5 count to 7 count, from 7 count to 11 count, from 11 count to 15 count, and at the end of the day, the entire charge has been dismissed by the Court of Appeal. Because the charge has cannot stand on the face of law. There's no proof evidence attached to it. So they have nothing against him because he's operating within the constitutional bind, his right to self-determination, we say an inalienable right. So his abduction in Kenya and consequent national religion to Nigeria provoke serious protests in the southeast. People who has been sidelined, has been treated like slaves in the scheme of things in this federation. We are today being treated like third-class citizens in the country. They have no regard for the people of the southeast. So, and it's only the mouthpiece of the people. Now the kind is the only person who can say the truth to the authority without minding us God. So he has not done wrong. He has never committed an offense in so doing. Because if I committed an offense in so doing, the charge preferred against him will have disclosed such. There's no offense in law he has committed. So, however, we are, of course, we are aware that our people are in sympathy with his predicament today. And of course, we must have been aware that he has a threatening health status. He has been having serious medical condition, which has not been effectively tackled in the custody of the SS, where he's been incarcerated today. So, and they are privy to these informations, and they are privy to his ordeal. So they are not happy. And though, of course, we are aware that some characters will take advantage of that situation to be unleashing mayhem on the peaceful people of the southeast. So that's what's playing out now. Of course, I will get into that because I need people to understand the background, how it started, and how it metamorphosed to where we are today. And people should also be properly informed to know that I love the clips we just played shortly before the program starts, because people should understand Nnamdi Kanu's position when it comes to the criminal activities going on in the southeast today, and also before he was abducted, and his present position. And that last clip which you played shortly a while ago, it was what he said in open court on June 28, 2022. And of course, he was abducted presently on 19th of June 2021 and spent 8 days. He was detained 8 days, where he was subjected to all forms of torture, beating, and inhuman treatment in Kenya. So before he was extradited to Nigeria on 8 days after. So taken to court in Nigeria on 29th of June, without reference to us. We are not notified about his presence in court, about the fact that he's being brought to court on that day. So he was taken to court, wherein the court made an order reminding him as custody. So then our people protested about the treatment made out to him, about the manner in which he was treated. So then an announcement was made for start home by the IPOB leadership. And that was observed by entire people of the South. They were not compelled to observe it. They observe it wholeheartedly because in sympathy and in solidarity with the fate of Nnamdi Kanu. So, a few days after, about maybe on a Monday or about 3 days after, he specifically instructed Nnamdi Kanu specifically. I want to be quoted clearly today. He specifically instructed that I should pass a message to leadership to call off the sit at home, because you understand that it's working a great injustice against our people, and if it's not well managed, some criminal elements will take advantage of that to cause problem, which is what is playing out now. So, and they obeyed him and called off the sit at home. But however, there are things that had happened before then. There are people that are clearly usurping the powers which you don't have. So they see it as an advantage, as a kind of an opportunity to launch their malfeasance into limelight. But I'm not saying they're launching themselves into limelight. They're launching their criminal activities into limelight. So they use the opportunity, aided by those who are supposed to understand the plight of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, aided them in going ahead to declare incident at home. They'll sleep and wake up the following morning and say that today is at home. So, and he is getting these briefings on a daily basis. He's getting it, and when it has gotten to a level that he will speak out, on June 28th, he came out to say those things. And he can also observe that he was not happy when he was saying it. And he was not told to say it. He was not told to say it. He had a, was not saying he saw the opportunity. He now passed that message to the people to understand that's not part of them and they're not working for him. Because Nnamdi Kanu is a peaceful person and they run a peaceful global movement. So, and they continue to exploit it. Now, I will say this to you. What is happening in the Southeast on account of incidents at home being called by Simon Ekpa is effectively being aided by Nigerian security agents. Because what is playing out in the social media today, you won't tell me they're not having this intelligence about how they operate. And I can assure you, you are into media, go and cross-check the facts. Nigerian government has not for one day rose to condemn the activities of pronouncement by Simon Ekpa. Not one day. Now, because it was a script which is targeted towards blackmailing this global peaceful movement, IPOB, probably in cohort with, in parentheses, in bracket, international community. Now, sometime in March last year, let me draw this point clear. In March last year, that was precisely on March. No, yes, March last 2023. This year, the Global Terrorism Index made a publication classifying IPOB as a dangerous group. Now, IPOB has before then been making publications distancing themselves from the activities, from heinous activities of Simon Ekpa group, who are purporting to be acting for Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. Before then, he baptized himself as Nnamdi Kanu disciple. From there, metamorphosed into spokesperson for IPOB. From there, when it became clear to him that IPOB has neutralized that position, he now arrogated himself the position of Prime Minister of Biafran government in exile, so to enable him to continue. But in actual fact, he's not working for Nnamdi Kanu. And I know why I am being this detailed. So why they issued this publication, and I immediately issued a rejoinder on 16th of March 2023, detailing the activities of Simon Ekpa group and criminal gangs, and also pointing to the fact that IPOB as a peaceful global movement has distanced themselves in various publications, and also volunteer to assist the security agents in fishing out these criminal elements. These are not something a word of mouth. Is contained in the various publications, which I will not mention the dates it's done. So on March 17th, IPOB also issued a rejoinder protesting. And opposition to this, a letter was sent to Global Index The letter was sent to that institution requesting for them to retract immediately. And upon investigation of the complaint and submission by IPOB and my humble self as right to IPOB, they on 27th of March issued a retraction retracting that classification. I'm talking about Global Terrorism Index. They retracted that complication. Now, IPOB made a publication on 22nd of August 2021, distancing themselves from activities of criminal elements who hijacked the process, probably who saw the gap created by the temporary exit of Nnamdi Kanu, probably a vacuum created by Nnamdi Kanu's intention to be causing, unleashing mayhem, killing people, kidnapping, and doing all sorts of things in the Southeast. Then they also issued another publication on 11th of January 2022, followed by another publication on 26th of March 2022, followed by another publication on 6th of December 2022, followed by another publication on 23rd of February 2023, followed by another publication by 29th of March 2023, followed by another publication on 17th of April 2023, and 3rd July 2023. These are different publications from IPOB as a peaceful global movement, distancing themselves from the activities of Simon Ekpa, and also indicting Nigerian security agents of aiding them. Because you can tell me, like yesterday I was discussing with a friend of mine who lost a junior sister during when he was during childbirth. I was asking him whether the burial has been done and all whatnot. He said, Ejiofor, let me tell you something. That my younger sister's body is still in the mortuary. That they are negotiating. That the in-law is negotiating with the de facto government in power in Imo State. You know what I mean by de facto government? People who are in charge of certain places. Because some part of Imo State,
non-state actors.
Some part of Imo State have been ceded to this criminal element. They can't tell you this. They're negotiating with them to agree on a date and time for the burial. Otherwise, you can't come there. This is reality on the ground. You can't come there. And you won't tell me that state government is not aware. And you won't tell me that Nigerian security agents are not aware. But what they are doing is that they are identifying houses of members of IPOB. Innocent people that have nothing to do with the criminal elements. They will go to their houses in the wee and hours of the night and abduct them. And you won't see them again. You won't see them again. Now, me, I also issued publication because Nnamdi Kanu mandated me to issue this publication, and acting as his lawyer and lawyer to IPOB, I issued this publication distancing the activities of Simon Ekpa from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. These publications were dated 1st of October 2022. Another one was issued on 10th of November 2022. Another one was issued on 17th of November 2022. Another one was issued on 20th of November 2022. Then on Radio Biafra on 5th of December, I was granted a 4-hour 30-minute interview wherein I discussed a number of issues. I took time in Igbo language to educate our people and tell them what Nnamdi Kanu stands for, and tell them the messages from Nnamdi Kanu, convey the message from Nnamdi Kanu, that they should stop listening to someone who is advocating violence that's not working for him. Then the person gave them timeline within which Biafra will come. He said the person, someone Ekpa told them that Biafra will come in the next day and they will have about 158 days or thereabout. And I said, Igbos are gifted. They are people of wisdom. Can't you make use of their number 6? How can you believe that someone who said is working for the release of Nnamdi Kanu is not giving you time? Biafra will come. He's not talking about his release. He's talking about when Biafra will come. I also proceeded to tell them that he has already sent the warships which has been exported to Nigeria, and probably then at the time we discussed, at the time the program was going on, that they are being sighted along the Benue River, Niger, and all what. I said, what are you listening to? These are cardinal points I was able to identify for them. I said, this can't happen. It's not happening. 180-something days has come and gone, and it's changed the narratives. Where is the worship? No worship. So can't you make use of our initiatives? We are talking about Nnamdi Kanu's release. Government is running from pillar to post. They cannot help it. Because I know his release will come soon. They have no option than to release him. The law is by his side. They cannot detain him beyond point. They are dragging their feet. They cannot hide. There's a limit to which they can go. I want to be quoted today very clearly. Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, gave specific instruction to someone close to him. I may not mention the name because the person knows himself. Instructing him to file action against Simon Ekpa in Finland. And the feedback he got from them was that action has been filed. The feedback he got from them that was that action has been filed. To file action against Simon Ekpa on his activities in the southeast. On his behalf, they should file action against him in Finland. He gave that instruction. Put me correctly. The feedback Nnamdi Kanu received from those who gave that instruction was that action has been filed. But in fact, nothing has been done. An order he gave. I know he'll be asked soon. And when he come out, everything will be in the open. Now, for those who are still towing that part of legion of bandwagons, let me say this to you. I am IPOB lead counsel today. I've been handling today, we have over 1,000 cases across the various courts in the southeast in Nigeria. In Abuja here too. We are defending IPOB and members of IPOB. When this criminal element started, I got a different instruction from the leadership of IPOB. It is time for us to start profiling, because once they arrested, I mean deviant groups, when they arrested who are working with Simon Ekpa, and once they arrested and probably detained either in a police station, SSS or prison, they will write they are members of IPOB. Do you belong to IPOB? Yes, we are members of IPOB. Now the leadership now have started profiling. Once you call me or probably send a message to my office, that you are in detention and this, I said, please revert to the leadership. I am not a lawyer. Today, by that strategy they introduced, we have them in their thousands in prison custody and police detention facilities without nobody asking for their whereabouts. Because Simon Ekpa is giving them directive on what to do. I hope I'm making sense to you. There are many of them today in various detention facilities across the states. Without somebody asking them, what is happening? How can we get you out? Because some of them may have been either arrested in the course of enforcement at home, which has been called off by leadership of IPOB and by Nnamdi Kanu too. And they're enforcing. Someone will sleep in Finland and wake up and say and declare total shutdown of the entire house for the 2 weeks.
What do you think is responsible for Simon Ekpa almost having a field day? You would have thought that government should also explore the diplomatic channel in going after Simon Ekpa. But the guy seems to be enjoying himself.
It's simple. Why it appears not that he's having a field day. He's not having a field day. It appears that he's having a field day in the eyes of people who don't understand what's happening in the secret. Is that the government is aiding them. What is happening in the southeast today?
That's allegedly.
When you are saying allegedly, I know what I'm talking about.
There are no
I have the
evidence
proof to say that I aiding them. I will
if I have the evidence,
I will give you the evidence.
I
will give you for evidence. So, why I'm saying that the government is aiding them, not the Nigerian security agency is aiding them. No, I'm saying that. They have every intel. They have intel at their disposal about the workings of Simon Ekpa and his group, including communications, including directives they are giving to their group. They have them in their custody, in their position today. Tell me what they've done with that. Now, let me tell you what's happening. I have mentioned the number of days, the length of the number of days IPOB publicly issued statement distancing the global movement from the activist Simon Ekpa. I've mentioned it here, right? Now, what they've indulged in doing now is that those people, those criminal elements, wherever they are, they find themselves, they will go and probably procure IPOB insignias, like flags, like probably what do you call it, like flags and cap, everything. So when they are seen, probably when they are caught, the security agents will come and tell the world that these are IPOB members. Am I making sense to you now? So, driving home point that these people are IPOB. But thankfully today, we have leading mainstream media like BBC and Arise who have come to reality that, look, these are not IPOB. They call them what they call them by their proper names. But the moment to be able to identify that these people are not this and these people are this, you can be able to attack to deal with them. But once you know that these people are not this, and out of mischief, we are muddling them up together because you want to portray IPOB in the bad light before the international community, when in fact there are not people who are doing that. They have all it takes to arrest them. They have all it takes to stop it, but they're happy because of what's happening. They want on the arrest to continue. So, but I strongly believe that it will soon be a thing of the past. Go.
All right, maybe we'll need to have and join us 0817 8000 947. That's the number to call 081